I just tell you guys real quick about what I learned watching the Silvervale stream.
But whenever anyone was like, oh, I love Vshojo so much, it's so cool that they get to keep their IP. Bitch, we own our IP. We started with our IP. Of course we get to own it. It's ours. Why are you celebrating that? Like, oh, bad things happen, but they get to keep what they own. Like, fucking duh. Yes, obviously. And everyone's like, oh my god, I love Vshojo. I want to sniff their parts because they get to keep their IP. Wow. Like, fucking obviously, it's not as big of a deal as you're making it. Like, fucking get over yourself. And everyone would always say that. And it's like, what's happening?
Yeah, well, there was some doubters, but yeah, I'll admit, most of us thought Vshojo was good. It sucks. It sucks to learn it wasn't. There's a lot of frustrations from the girls about that, by the way, where they kept seeing these good things, these praises about the company, and meanwhile, they knew what was going on internally, but they couldn't say anything because of that goddamn NDA. And that's a sentiment that's repeated often throughout, like, all of the girl stream that have spoken about this.
Like, I know, like other companies would own their IP or like make you sell it or whatever, but like that was Vshojo's whole thing, is that they were different. And obviously different fucking sucked. But whenever anyone was like,
okay, so this is the first clip.
When we left, they of course discredited us to the staff and the other members as soon as we left.
Yeah.
Like, they painted us as troublemakers and problem people, that we were greedy and asked for more money.
Yeah.
There's like so many horrible things just to avoid the truth that they were stealing from us.
If what Vey is true, all she'd ask, okay, all three girls said that they didn't ask a lot in their contract. They've all said the same thing. We didn't ask a lot. Vey said that she only asked for them not to take a percentage of her mythic sponsor. That's all, and they wouldn't even compromise there. And Silvervale also said something like that. And just because she brought in a lawyer to look at the contract, they were made to feel like, you're heartless, you're greedy, I can't believe you're talking to us through a lawyer. And they started shit-talking them to all of the rest of the staff and the talents, painting them as troublemakers.
And they intentionally announced Vey and I leaving at the same time, so it looked like we left together, even though Nyan wanted to leave at the same time. And they refused to let her leave.
Yeah, Vshojo had a graduation queue. Like, literally confirmed by Silvervale there was a graduation queue. They wouldn't let Nyanners leave when she wanted to leave. She was held hostage.
At the same time, because they wanted to look better for them. Like, it's not like we were all jumping ship at the same time. They literally held her hostage so it would look better for them. And they advised the talents to stop associating with us. And when we left, I later found out that they'd been slandering me to musicians and artists.
It's hard to understand what she said here, but she says they've been slandering me to musicians and artists. Like, this girl, this poor, I feel so bad for Silvervale because there was a corpo and a very large VTuber that's been slandering her to artists, business opportunities, business contacts, and other people. And at least, it all came out this year, and she can finally talk about all of these things that's been waiting on her for so many years.
I had worked with through Vshojo.
Yeah, so she got this treatment from Cinder and from Vshojo.
And slandering me to companies and ruined potential business partnerships that I was really, really excited for some of my like dream collabs that were gonna happen. And like staff was known to ask for her everywhere. Like they even run some of the really large VTuber clip channels. Like they were everywhere, and they had their hand in every pie. I later found out that I was put into a call with Gunn, the CEO of the company, like someone that I admired and I looked up to and I wanted to please, someone that I thought was the coolest person ever. And he told me that I was...
This is during the Hogwarts Legacy situation when she was getting harassed for playing the wizard game. I see there's some people that QRT'd my post on Twitter still, saying it was like deserved and shit. And it's like, bro, are you just missing the point or you can't read? Like, one of your talents is being harassed. You don't get them on a call to fucking reprimand them and tell them that they're a liability. What the fuck?
It was a damage to the brand, that I was a disappointment. I was told that me being harassed was an inconvenience to the other talents and not to talk to them. Optics were more important than their own talent's well-being. And I was suspended from streaming. They said it wasn't a suspension because they weren't that kind of agency, but what else do you call being told not to stream? Talent freedom, right? I was put into a call with Gunn.
It's a short clip, but yeah, I'll just read my notes for this. She starts by saying that she thinks all the problems are more like out of incompetence rather than malice, but with everything coming out, it's hard to say. Vshojo was made out of a lot of good people. It wasn't all evil. There were just a lot of mishandling and people that were handling things that really, really shouldn't have been handling them. Lots of incompetence. And these words is something like Neander said something almost one-to-one the day before, by the way. So that's why I'm like suspecting there was either a lot of nepotism or I don't know, investors that were there that were listened to over other people that had really good input on the matters. So she also says that in the beginning, it was everything that she could have dreamed of, possibly the first year she was there in 2020. The original contract was pretty predatory, but we had no idea. They were very naive back then. They didn't know better. They were just super excited. I did notice there was no exit clause, which should have been a huge red flag, but I was really excited and I got them to add an exit clause to all of the girls' contracts. So at least, you know, she got to change not just her contract, but everybody's contract to make it better. She says, before I left Vshojo, they owed me tens of thousands of dollars, like a metric fuck ton of money. End quote. I think at one point they were hoping we wouldn't catch on to the missing funds. She would repeatedly ask how the sponsor money was going. It took months for them to pay out sponsors, so it was difficult to keep track. This is something also Shy Lily, who's in the contract, and Yanners, who was in Vshojo as well, has said. 3 months a turnover for them to get paid by their sponsors made it very difficult for them to keep track of the money. Hasn't been paid for the Smite sponsor. She hasn't been paid for Advanced GG. She hasn't paid for Ironside PC, plus tons of other sponsors over the years. This is just like the few ones that she remembers. She left around the time new contracts were given, contacted someone who knew a lawyer who helped her navigate the situation. This lawyer specialized in this kind of stuff. She asked Vshojo to adjust the contract and they refused. She wasn't asking for a lot to be changed, but Vshojo was so upset that they had lawyers look at the contract. They were belittled and shamed to other talents for that. They were made to feel like they were greedy just for wanting to be paid what they were owed. We were villainized for that, she said. And then she adds, before I left, I reached out to all the talents that would listen, and I warned as many people as I could. All right, this part is for all like the naysayers. I told them to check all their payments because some were missing. I tried my hardest. I told them as much as I could about everything, and I think it was eye-opening for them, but they had their own reasons for not wanting to leave, like thinking it wasn't happening to them or they just needed more time. But I could never warn anyone publicly. I was afraid no one would believe me. Vshojo had so much power and sway, and I was terrified. So, companies and artists realized of this revelation that Vshojo ruined her career. It has seems that this shutdown is far too late, needed to be owed, and apologized everything. I'm breathing cope right now. Sad that I, Blade, can't diss Vshojo, because they're pretty much a dead horse, I guess. I mean, it's just sad that the company shutdown arrived so late that the girls are probably not gonna see any of the money, like Zintreya said. That means they're bankrupt. She also adds that the threat of them suing me was very real and it haunted me for a very, very long time. Even before it was announced that I was leaving, I had just mentioned in my Discord, just like casually, that I was stressed and needed to cancel the stream. And they contacted my lawyer because of that and threatened to sue me if I hinted that I was leaving or unhappy at all, just because I said I was stressed. So imagine if I said anything else. They were watching us like hawk. I think they were watching all of us because we were the first ones to leave. Let that sink in. If she just hinted that she was unhappy, they were threatening her. So yeah, and Vay said something very similar. So like, oh, why didn't she say anything earlier? Well, shit. Listen to what the girls are saying. I loved all the memories I made with the girls, but the internal working was so messed up. We were lied to for a long time. We were pitted against each other and told different things, so if anything went wrong, we would turn against each other instead of the agency. They had internal leaderboards to make us compete against each other. You were considered a problem person for rocking the boat or voicing any concerns. We were told not to discuss any sponsorship unless staff told us. They did everything to compartmentalize all of us and make us feel like we were nothing without them. So what they did is they basically, separated everybody and separated their contact points so no one would talk to each other. And then you'd have to rely on them for every communication or whoever you're assigned to. It's like all little bubbles. The entire culture was to work for brownie points to get support and admiration. It felt like we were working for them. I can't stress enough how trapped we felt. When the whole wizard stuff was happening, I know a lot of people thought I had no support, and you can't imagine how true that was. When she was getting attacked online, she had a call with Gunrun, someone she admired during that time, and she was told she was a disappointment and harmful to the brand. That was in the clip we just watched. And that she was an inconvenience. She was told that being harassed was an inconvenience to the other talents and was instructed not to talk to them. Optics was more important than their own talents' well-being. Then she was suspended from streaming. They claimed, listen to that, they claimed it wasn't a suspensions because they, quote, weren't that kind of agency, end quote. But what else do you call being told not to stream, Silvervale adds. Talent freedom, am I right? And she said that this event broke her. It shattered my perception of everything, and it shattered my trust. I was part of this agency since the beginning. I was one of the founding members. I put so much effort into it, and time and love into seeing it grow, and to be treated so harshly with no remorse by someone like this just broke me. She goes on a little bit more about her feelings, but I I just took bits because I was writing while she was talking. She reached out to other talents after that again. They told her that they were angry, that they were on her side, that they were surprised she was treated that way. And when we left, she says, they of course discredited us to the staff and other members, and they painted us as troublemakers and problem people. She says, they said so many horrible things about us just to avoid the truth that they were stealing from us. Isn't that crazy? Just so management could avoid talking about stealing from them, saying the real reason why they were leaving is because they weren't getting paid their due wages. Instead, they lied about them, said they were troublemakers, saying that they were greedy, and they slandered them to the remaining staff and talents. She says that we had a non-disparagement agreement, but it went both ways. So she could have never been able to handle that legal battle if she spoke out. They were huge with a lot of power, she said. She also added, I was just hoping that it got better after we left and they learned not to do that because like 3 talents left, so maybe they would rework the talents. But obviously they didn't. She says, this was the worst experience I've ever gone through. My world was destroyed. I felt so isolated. My own agency had gone into my head and made me believe that I wasn't valuable, that they could steal from me and get away with it. Let that sink in. They made her believe she was so not valuable, that she was so disposable, that almost just accept it and be thankful that we stole from you. She says, I was so burnt out and so sad and I was struggling really bad. I tried not to show it to you guys, but she also adds that like some people that were keeping up with her stream at the time probably noticed it. I could never ever talk about it. I thought I would take this to my grave. It feels surreal to be able to talk about it now. She also says, we were held under that NDA for so long. We were always threatened with legal action over everything, so we could never say anything. They also had my mom sign one. She's not my manager or anything. She's just my mom. She says that like probably because she came onto her stream a couple times. I guess because she was my mom and she knew what was happening, they wanted to cover their bases so that she wouldn't say anything either. Weird. So like, let's say you confide in your family, they make your family sign NDAs. She asked, where did the money go? How many ads did you buy? Were they made out of gold? I was stressed and depressed every day until I left. I suddenly felt relieved. When she left, she means. The mental toll was horrible. There are so many streams I canceled because of this. I was in the darkest place for so long. I hope they paid the artists I work with. I usually handle those things directly because I like being hands-on. So she probably paid those artists directly, but she's like, if anybody hasn't gotten paid, contact me. She does talk about healing towards the end. It's heavy stuff that she carried for a long time. I think she's kind of like hinting at the Cinder stuff, but she didn't say anything outright. But she was saying like, what a year. It's crazy that I can talk about these things. And she says it's nice to be able to share it and finally start healing. So let's hope that she actually gets to start that process now and that this is actually the end of her troubles. It makes a lot of sense now, you know, looking back at the stuff she said during the whole Cinder saga. I can understand now why she was very reticent. She was very not willing to let people in or trust easily because of all the stuff that happened. Yeah, reluctant. Yeah, it really sucked to hear that about Silver. It felt awful. Hey, you! Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that bell button. And I'll see you in the next video.